we're live.
Welcome to conference committee on H.456 with Senate and House Education. We met a few times on Friday and now we're continuing our work. And as I recall, and through my conversations with Chair Webb, you all have a proposal for us to consider.
Yes.
And I apologize, Rep. Webb, were you ready to go? You have your documents and everything?
We do.
Okay.
The documents are posted.
Okay.
And yes, they're posted now and they're just ready to be picked up.
Okay, yeah, if you wouldn't mind grabbing me, that would be great.
This is hot off the press.
We'll get a paper copy.
Yes, so, yes, we looked at a couple of things, looked at your suggestion that perhaps we do a 2-year pilot.
Yep.
Non-voting member, we reached out to a few folks, and I know that UVM does have a way for faculty and staff to participate through the various committees.
That's true, yeah.
Vermont State College doesn't,
That's
but
true.
in their letter to us, they said, we are actually looking into doing this, and it doesn't require legislation to do it, so they can do it. Just looked at non-voting members and, how do you deal with executive session, what about financials, hire and fire, so we just said, let's just go back and see if we can find another alternative here. Since we remain not comfortable with the idea of putting. So we've come up with a question about a plan for a study. And I have plans, we're moving forward, have plans to speak with the American governing boards of universities and colleges, and associations of governing boards of universities and colleges. Plan to speak with them after this meeting to find out if they could give, they look at boards all over the college boards all over the country. Looking to them to see what it would cost if they could do something, so I could get a better idea on cost. We have heard from NCHEMS, it was more like 150, and we're looking to see if we scale it back a little bit, if we could make it less. So those are some of the things that we're looking at. But the language here starts in section 7. We've accepted everything else.
Right.
Your giant page asking for the equality education. And I, Representative James, are you comfortable sort of walking us through this? I know that you've been.
Sure. No problem. Okay, so I assume everybody has everything. So our new language, our suggested new language starts on page 5, section 7. I'll just give everybody 1 sec to get there.
Oh, and Jim is in the room too. I think.
Yeah.
He was there too. So.
Okay, you want Jim to walk us through?
Why don't, maybe that makes sense to have Jim walk us through it, and then
Sure.
you can talk about some of our decision making for practice.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Thank
Yeah.
Okay, good morning. So for the record, Jim Damer, as counsel, we're walking through this House Conferee proposal on H.456. As mentioned, the new language is in sections 7, 8, and 9. Section 7 requires the JFO, in consultation with NEBI, to retain a consultant to review and make recommendations on board governance and composition at UVM and VSC. And then there's language that says because UVM and VSC are separate institutions that have their own unique characteristics, faculty and staff, and student bodies, the consultant shall make separate findings and recommendations that are specifically tailored to each institution. The consultant is required to be a nonprofit, nonpartisan, post-secondary educational consulting organization that is nationally recognized and provide expert advice on board governance at public post-secondary educational institutions. B has the requirements. The consultant shall, 1, review the current board governance structure for UVM and VSC, including board composition and representation, including the extent to which the board represents the institution's stakeholders and the diversity of board members, board expertise, board effectiveness, the board's governing documents, bylaws, and policies, the board members' appointment process, and the board's operation and management. And then the consultant shall also review stakeholder access to and engagement with the board, including the faculty, staff, and students. And the consultant shall review best practices and governance structures for both boards of public post-secondary educational institutions in the New England states and other states as determined appropriate by the consultant, including A, the extent to which faculty and staff are represented in the form of their representation, including whether they are board members with or without voting rights, or whether they have an advisory role, and B, how perceived conflicts of interest are managed for one or more faculty or staff or board members. Then there are two alternative subsections C. One of them establishes a stakeholder engagement advisory group, and the other option does not. That group would be created under Section 8, which we'll come on to. And the purpose is to ensure robust, varied, and comprehensive input. And it would be required to meet with that group and its individual members upon their reasonable request. Or if that's not done, the other alternative C is the consultant shall consult with the following stakeholders to ensure the same thing: robust, very comprehensive, etc. Board trustees, school administration, school faculty and staff, students, and alumni and donors. And the report for each of UVM and BSC would be required on or before December 15th of this year. Page 8, Section 8 creates the stakeholder engagement advisory group, if that's the way you want to go. And this group will ensure that the consultant has robust, varied, comprehensive input, and that stakeholders have access to the consultant. The membership of that group, advisory group, would be 13 members, 1 member of the House, 1 member of the Senate, president of UVM, chancellor of BSC, a non-student trustee of the UVM board appointed by the UVM chair, a non-student trustee of the VSC board appointed by the VSC chair, a member of the UVM faculty appointed by the president of the UVM faculty senate, a member of the VSC faculty appointed by the chair of the VSC education, personnel, and student life committee, a member of the UVM staff appointed by the president of the UVM staff council, a member of the VSC staff appointed by the chair of the VSC education, personnel, and student life committee, a student board trustee at UVM appointed by the board chair, the student board trustee at VSC, and the president of BSAC. The powers and duties are that the advisory group shall provide input to the consultant and shall advise the consultant on its work, including on the reports required to be produced by the consultant. The advisory group shall not have the power to vote or on or approve these reports. Assistance will come from VSAC. The president of VSAC will call the first meeting on or before August 1 of this year. The reps of the House and Senate would jointly chair the advisory group. Advisory group would cease after the reports are issued, and there would be no compensation for members of the advisory group. And then Section 9 is unspecified appropriation for the consultant coming out of the general fund for fiscal year 23. And the effective dates of those sections we went through would be on passage.
Questions for Mr. Demaray? Senator Hooker.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Was there a number of meetings that were specified? Did I miss that?
No, because there's no compensation. Usually meetings are limited because you want the compensation to be, limited and defined, but there's no compensation here, so there's no specified number of meetings.
So there's, sorry, go ahead, sir.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna ask, so I see that under the appropriation, the sum is being left blank. Is it not, there's no cost to this?
No, it's blank because we don't have a number yet.
Okay,
This is for the consultant.
right.
Yeah, it's just for the consultant.
And do you have a guesstimate?
I will have that after I speak to the Association of Governing Boards of Universities and Colleges at 10 o'clock. I'm hoping to get a better idea of that.
And I apologize, Rep. Webb, are they specifically called out in this?
No, they're
No,
not.
no, so it's done as we usually do.
Yeah, so I just kind of get an estimate from them.
Yeah.
We heard something from pensions. This is something that we just didn't know.
And do you, has the House agreed to the money or to the idea of there being, because our approach chair is out now at this point.
Yes.
You can put the money in the budget?
They are aware,
Okay,
and I've not been working on it since it was, our meeting on Friday was, we weren't interested in it, so I have told them that we are going to be putting forward something I did not know how much it would cost.
any other questions, Senator Coker?
No, I would just say that, my first inclination is that I don't want another study.
Right.
And secondly, that the biggest advantage of having a member on the board is that it's not going to cost us anything. It's not going to cost the state anything. You're looking at, talked last week about the possibility of costing $200,000 and maybe less, for the consultant, but I'm just questioning, do we need a study on this? And I understand, I know, you talked last week about looking at boards overall and how they're functioning, how they're established, and that may be something that should be done.
Yeah, we'll talk to Senator Perslick, of course. I know that the Senate is looking, one of the things that came up on the floor was an idea of a real broad study of boards. This may capture that. There might be some in the Senate that if this committee wanted to move forward with it, which I think there's hesitation, might not be broad enough. I'm not sure. I have to take a look at that.
More than willing to see if we can find a way to address your concern about lack of representation and our concern about concerns that we've heard from others as to the challenges of putting this on right away without budget.
So Senator Perslick, so we're on the floor at 10. We could certainly pop off, I think, by 11:30, something like that. Is it all right? So what I'll leave with Daphne is we'll talk to Senator Perslick to see what he might have in terms of floor presentations.
Yeah.
Daphne, I'm thinking 11:30 or lunchtime for us to regather. That'll give Senator Perslick.
I have a conference at 12:30.
Okay, so know that Senator, and we're waiting from the House on 283, which hopefully will happen today.
Right, I've been good to speak to that today.
And we're meeting on 7/27 at 3.
Exactly.
We have a conference with your colleagues, 7/27 at 3. So if we could do it, if it works for all of you, maybe 11:30-ish.
Yeah, that works for us.
And I'll check with Senator Perslick and Daphne. So Daphne will be in touch.
Okay, very good.
Anything else at this point before we head to the floor? Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did that.